Many thanks for joining the main news on Liberty Television. My name is Afnal Musa. First, we begin with the headlines. In the news, Kano Ward ESCO suspends APC chairman Ganduje. EFCC recovers 32.7 billion naira, $445,000 from humanitarian ministry. Nigeria's inflation rate hits 33.20% as naira rebounds. Tanzania floods kill 58 with heavy rain persisting. And in sport, Benin Republic to tackle Super Eagles in 2026 World Cup qualifier. Details of these and more will come to you shortly in the bulletin. Now in the news. Meanwhile, the All Progressive Congress APC State Working Committee in Kano has taken drastic measures against some ward party leaders who suspended the national chairman of the party, Umar Abdullahi Ganduje. APC's ward in Dawaki Tofa local government of Kano's Dawaki Tofa local government chairman Inusa Dawuno told newsmen that those behind the suspension of the national chairman were caught in anti-party activities and their arrests. The state working committee of the party said they have sanctioned the perpetrators for 6 months and a special investigation panel has been set up to verify several allegations against them. The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matali, has asked President Bola Tinubu's appointees from northern Nigeria to defend the government they are serving in or quit. Matali said this in a statement on Monday in reaction to the recent attack on the Tinubu administration by one of the appointees, Hakim Baba Ahmed. In a Facebook post on Sunday, Baba Ahmed, who serves as the special advisor on political matters in the presidency, said it would have been better if Matali had listed his achievements as minister and those of other appointees from the north instead of attacking the Northern Elders Forum (NEF). He was reacting to a statement by Mr. Matali in which he described the forum as political paperweight. Matali, a former governor of Zamfara State, in his latest statement said Baba Ahmed and other appointees from the north owe the administration a duty to promote and advance its efforts across all sectors. The federal government of Nigeria has called for restraint from all sides involved in the fresh conflict in the Middle East. Spokesperson for Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Francisca Omawoli, in a statement said the federal government of Nigeria joins other members of the international community. The Gaza war has inflamed Middle East tensions. Leaders of G7 nations on Sunday unanimously condemned Iran's unprecedented attack against Israel and pledged to continue efforts to work towards de-escalation. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) says it has so far recovered the sum of 32.7 billion naira and $445,000 from investigations of past and present suspended officials of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The Commission, in a statement entitled "Setting the Record Straight on Investigations of Humanitarian Ministry," issued by its spokesman Dele Oyewale, said the recoveries were made when the affected officials of the ministries were invited by the Commission. It also noted that the announcement was made to dispel rumors concerning the progress of its mobile investigations into the alleged financial misappropriation in the ministry. The EFCC stated that the investigation opened other fraudulent dealings to execute its poverty alleviation mandate linked to other suspended officials of the ministry. Additionally, he said the EFCC has not cleared anyone allegedly involved in the public to ignore any claim to the contrary. Now in other news, where Vice President Kashim Shettima has reiterated the determination of President Bola Tinubu's administration to address power deficit in Maiduguri, Borno State. Shettima gave the assurance in Maiduguri when he hosted members of the Borno Elders Forum, members of the All Progressive Congress APC and other stakeholders. Here's the report.
The chairman, Borno Elders Forum, Garba Gubiu, thanked the vice president for the invitation, expressing deep belief and trust and capacities of both the president and his vice. The vice president has emphasized on the basic needs and requirements of the nation. Shatima therefore called for continued support for the Tinubu's administration by all Nigerians. The vice president said the government's policies would be immensely beneficial to all and sundry in no distant time. He specifically cited the power supply challenge in Maiduguri and some parts of Borno as having caught the president's attention. The secretary of the group, Bulama Mali Gubio, who acknowledged the commitment of the Tinubu.
Now from Enugu State, where the Nigerian Army says it is investigating the alleged killing of a lady Hawakulu Tabra by a soldier, Private Adamu Mohammed, at one of the barracks in Enugu State. The incident occurred on April 11, 2024, and the corpse of the lady was discovered within the barracks the following day. In a statement, Director of Army Public Relations, Major General Oyema Wachuku, expressed regret that the young lady lost her life in the hands of a man with whom she was in a romantic relationship with. Major General Wachuku said, contrary to reports by an online platform, the suspect was not a former member of a terror group Boko Haram. The Army expressed heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased and assured the general public that justice will be served in the matter, as no unprofessional conduct or indiscipline within its ranks will be tolerated. Now in Taraba State, where troops of the Nigerian Army in separate operations have arrested a gun-running syndicate and foiled a kidnap attempt in Taraba and Benue State respectively. The Director, Army Public Relations, Major General Oyema Wachuku, disclosed this in a statement on Monday. One AK-47 rifle, 5 rounds of 7.6 mm special ammunitions, and a motorcycle were recovered from them. Meanwhile, in Benue State, soldiers responded to a distress call about a kidnap attempt where one kidnapper was killed during the intervention. Now to an military-civilian crash, which led to the alleged killing of 3 civilians by soldiers in Gashuo, the headquarters of Bade local government area in Yobe State. The soldiers reportedly fired indiscriminately into groups of protesters who were approaching their stop-and-search checkpoint near Gashuo Bridge to protest the killing of a tricycle operator. The President of the 9th Senate, in a statement, demanded a swift investigation by the military into the tragic incident. He further appealed to residents for calm, while assuring that he has already spoken with military authorities to ensure that those responsible are apprehended and dealt with accordingly to the law. He also emphasized that justice must be served. Justice Bintan Yako of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has adjourned to April 30th the possible arraignment of 4 suspects over the kidnap and killing of the traditional ruler of Amaze Obowo Autonomous Community in Imo State, Eze Basio Ujoku. The arraignment follows the absence of the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, or a representative to lead the prosecution of the defendants. Although the 4 defendants were billed for arraignment by 9 a.m., the judge was forced to shift till noon due to the non-appearance of the AGF or his representatives in court. The 3 counts earlier slammed against them have been increased to 5 in the amended charges. By noon, when the arraignment was to be held, neither the AGF nor his representatives still appeared in court without any information or communication to the court. The situation prompted the judge to invite lawyers to the defendant into her chambers, where an adjournment of April 30th was fixed. The coroner, Magistrate Mikhail Kadiri, inquiring into the case of death of the late student of Dowen College, Lagos, Sylvester Oromoli, has returned the verdict that the deceased died a natural death. In a judgment that lasted over 6 hours, the coroner also held that the death was, however, avoidable, as the negligence of the parents and the medical team also contributed to it. Magistrate Kadiri absolved some students of Dowen College named in the incident, as he concluded that they played no part in the death of Sylvester and should not have been involved in the matter. The coroner also gave some recommendations to forestall further incidents of this sad nature. The Deputy Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Environment, Tese Ugbo, says addressing the issue of endangered species trafficking in Nigeria requires a multifaceted approach, strict enforcement, community engagement, and international cooperation to combat this illegal trade. He made this known at a one-day dialogue on the Endangered Species Conservation and Protection Bill 2024 sponsored by him, which has already passed first reading on the floor of the House of Reps.
Nigeria being home to a rich and diverse array of wildlife such as elephants, pangolins, and various primates has unfortunately become a hotspot for illegal wildlife trade in species such as elephants, pangolins, like I mentioned before.
Director of the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, Oliver Stope, said wildlife crime is not being accorded the seriousness it deserves. There is therefore the need to increase the penalties on wildlife crime.
You will agree with me that outdated laws and legislations remain one of the challenges confronting sustainable forest and biodiversity conservation in the country. We call it a framework, and next year was born. And this was born. Next year, regulation was enacted, which we are currently using for monitoring and enforcement.
Stakeholders at the dialogue say indeed the bill is a child necessity to keep pace with current realities in the fight against wildlife and forest crime.
The weaknesses of the current legal framework are exemplified in the minimal sentences handed down to wildlife crime perpetrators who have been prosecuted and convicted in the past year and a half, thanks in part to the assiduousness of the Nigerian Customs Service.
In other stories, an 8-month pregnant woman, Favor Peter, Esther Aduku, and Ochigbo Michael were arrested in a series of coordinated raids across several states by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA), leading to the seizure of 3.2 million naira counterfeit notes and illicit substances, underscoring the agency's commitment to combating drug-related crimes in the country. The operation led to the arrest of the 3 suspects at the Jabi Park in Abuja, but an earlier seizure of 3.2 million naira counterfeit cash by the NDLEA in Kogi, Lokoja, prompted the follow-up operation that led to their apprehension. The spokesperson of the NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, revealed the developments on Sunday in a statement detailing the arrest and recoveries made by the agency over the past week. In ongoing efforts to curb drug abuse, the NDLEA said it commands nationwide conducts various advocacy campaigns, including sensitization lectures for students, military personnel, and local communities. Now from Oyo State, where the Oyo State Police Command today, Monday, paraded 21 suspects in connection with the invasion of the Oyo Government Secretariat on Saturday, 13th of April 2024. The invaders, who claimed to be members of the Yoruba Nation agitators, were paraded alongside 6 exhibits such as guns, ammunitions, plaques with the Yoruba Nation insignia, cutlass. The Corps Public Education Officer Jonas Agu said in a statement that 19 bodies have been deposited at the Oyo General Hospital morgue. The fatal crash was said to have been caused by a driver who rode against traffic, leading to a head-on collision between a hiace bus and a saloon car. Agu added that the FRSC Corps Marshal Daudu Ali Bill has directed sector commanders to step up patrol operations in a bid to tackle the menace of route violation on the nation's highway. Chibok Girls Secondary School, Chibok in Borno State, a report at the weekend revealed, among others, that 21 released girls came back with 34 children. This, according to the report released by Murtala Mohammed Foundation (MMF), to commemorate the 10th year anniversary of the abduction, served as a devastating confirmation of the sexual violence and coerced marriages the girls endured while in captivity. Also, the report hinted that 48 parents of the abducted victims have died. In a virtual presentation of the report, stated that the foundation has set out 10 key recommendations that urge the Nigerian government and the international community to collaborate on the delivery on and beyond the following priority areas. And if you're just joining us, it's the main news on Liberty Television. Just to remind you that you can watch us on all social media platforms. You can find Liberty TV on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Now still to come in the news. Nigeria's inflation rate hits 33.20% as Naira rebounds. Tanzania floods kill 58 with heavy rain persisting. And in sport, you'll hear that Benin Republic tackle Super Eagles in 2026 World Cup qualifier. Details of this and more will come to you shortly after the break. Much for staying tuned to the news. Now to other stories. Nigeria's inflation rate jumped to 33.20% in March of 2024 compared to February of 2024 headline inflation rate, which was 31.70%. This was according to the National Bureau of Statistics NBS Consumer Price Index CPI report released today, Monday. The NBS said looking at the movement, the March 2024 headline inflation rate showed an increase of 1.50%. Rate was 11.16% points higher compared to the rate recorded in March 2023, which was 22.04%. On a month-on-month basis, the headline inflation rate in March 2024 was 3.02%, which was 0.10% lower than the rate recorded in February 2024. That's about 3.12%. This means that in the month of March 2024, the rate of increase in the average price level is less than the rate of increase in the average price level in February 2024. Nigerians continue to react to the incessant inflation affecting the economy. The prices of food and other commodities have refused to react to the positive change recorded in the value of naira to the dollar in the last few weeks. Liberty News correspondent Sani Magaji Mohammed now reports.
Many Nigerians had anticipated a drop in the prices of food and other commodities following the steady appreciation in the value of naira. However, prices have remained adamant to the rise in the value of naira. Business owners and residents alike express divergent views on the increase in price of commodities despite the drop in the exchange rate. A trader said the rise in price does not have anything to do with the dollar, but instead the government should devise ways to tackle inflation and insecurity. They call on the government to set up a task force to enforce price regulation in order to ease the hardship Nigerians are facing and also to improve security. San Magaji Mohammed, Liberty News, Kaduna.
The National Union of Electricity Employees, NUEE, has said it is still consulting with stakeholders and its members on whether or not to embark on a strike over the recently approved electricity tariff hike. Reports credited to the Acting General Secretary of the National Union of Electricity Workers, Dominic Ibuike, threatened that its members would begin a nationwide strike surfaced on Monday. However, Ibuike, while speaking with newsmen, said the decision to embark on a nationwide protest had yet to be firmed up. Britain on Monday announced sanctions against businesses linked to the warring parties in Sudan, which is facing a major humanitarian disaster after a year of conflict. The Foreign Office said strict measures will include an asset freeze on companies linked to the Sudanese Armed Forces SAF and its rival, the Paramilitary Rapid Response Support Forces RSF. Targets of the sanctions include Al-Hadid Bank, a financial institution that has been financing the RSF, and Al-Fakar Advanced Works, a holding company used by the organization to export gold. The proceeds are used to purchase weapons. Red Rock Mining, a mining and exploration company which provide funds to the SAF, will also be sanctioned. The company is closely linked to Defense Industry Systems, the economic and manufacturing arm of the SAF. The Foreign Office said more than 8.5 million people have fled their homes since the start of the war, according to the UN. The World Health Organization has warned that the country faces now from Baltimore, where the FBI has launched a criminal probe targeting the container ship that crashed into a major road bridge in Baltimore last month, collapsing it and killing 6 people, US media reported on Monday. The Washington Post described it as a criminal investigation and cited 2 unnamed US officials as saying the probe will look at least in part at whether the crew knew the ship had serious system problems when it left the port. In a statement to AFP, the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) said that as a matter of policy, it does not confirm or deny investigations. But it did not say but it did say its agents were aboard the Singapore flag-deal container, which remains pinned beneath the wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge nearly 3 weeks after the disaster. Now from the United States, where ex-US President Donald Trump will set foot in the New York courthouse today and become the first former US president to stand trial in a criminal case. He is accused of falsifying his business records to disguise a hush money payment made to Stormy Daniels, a former adult film star, shortly before the 2016 elections. Trump faces a maximum of 4 years in jail if convicted, but could also avoid jail term and be fined instead. He has pleaded not guilty. Trump's historic trial will take place against the backdrop of his presidential campaign and could ultimately see the presumptive Republican nominee become a convicted felon months before voters head to the poll in November. The Kremlin has called for a de-escalation in the Middle East after Iran's unprecedented weekend attack on Israel. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters that they are extremely concerned about the escalation of tension in the region, and they called on all countries in the region to exercise restraint as further escalation is in no one's interest. Iran launched the attack, its first ever to directly target Israeli territory, in retaliation for a deadly airstrike widely blamed on Israel that destroyed a consular building in Syria's capital early this month. Bishop Mary Emmanuel of Christ the Good Shepherd Church and some other members have been stabbed during the church service streamed online in Sydney. Members of the congregation can be heard screaming and rushing to help the bishop. The New South Wales police said a man was arrested in connection with the incident, adding that 4 people were injured in the attack. Now up next is news from the International News segment.
As international news, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is addressing the House of Commons after Iran attacked Israel this weekend. Tehran launched more than 300 projectiles at Israel in what is said was retaliation for a strike on its consulate in Syria. The UK, along with the US, France and Jordan, helped down the missiles and drones fired at Israel. Sunak tells the Commons that Iran showed its true colors and that the UK was working with allies to de-escalate the situation. The Prime Minister also insists the UK's efforts are focused on ensuring a pause in fighting and getting aid into Gaza. The Israeli cabinet and opposition leaders are meeting in Tel Aviv as Israel considers its response on Saturday's attack. And in France and its allies on Monday sought to drum up hundreds of millions in aid for Sudan, a year since civil war erupted, sparking one of the world's worst and most underfunded humanitarian crisis. To date, only 5% of the €3.8 billion, equivalent to $4.1 billion target in the UN's latest humanitarian appeal had been funded, nowhere near the resources needed for the 25 million people in Sudan. NGO Chief Executive Officer Mercy Corps Tijada Odion McKenna told the media. And finally, in Tanzania, here in Africa, nearly 60 people have died since the start of April in heavy rains and flooding that has hit several parts of Tanzania, the government said. The coastal region of the East African country is one of the worst affected, with floods damaging thousands of farms there. Mobari Mata experience, especially in the coastal region. And that's about the size of international news. My name is Andy Ohene.
Hello guys, welcome to entertainment news this evening. We're going to talk about cinema and the chess world record holder. Yes, I am Victoria Adek. Nigerian chess master Tunde Onukoya aims for 58 hours Guinness World Record. The event is slated to be held from 10 a.m. on April 17 to 8 p.m. on April 19 in the iconic Times Square of New York City. Onukoya declares on the 17th of April 2024, I will attempt to break the Guinness World Record for the largest chess marathon in the heart of Times Square, New York City. Playing for 58 hours across the world who lack educational opportunities. His commitment extends beyond chessboard. As the founder of Chess in Africa, he strives to unlock the potential of children through mentorship and chess education. We now know the pain of not having access, and that is the real tragedy of poverty. He said, it is not a lot of that is deeply rooted, empty in emphasis and compassion, and that is why I think, he think, not I, he think that he have the capacity to do what he can do, to do it in a passionate without giving up even in his hard comes. The current Guinness World Record stands at 56 Hong Falbone and Sergei Fagis off. Wow, that's a very good one. And the second verse, Timaya fully claimed the verse in the lyrics in front of a woman barely claimed pulling up a chest. In another scene where women dance to the song while listening, also pulling chain by choosing not to chain the women but rather than offer the chain as part of their playing teams. Pink make a strong case for women who have been offered a choice, having a BDMX experience where true they have and the submissions are as one who could think. These women are choosing to play with the chain. No, last but not the least is the cinema. Just to Dream. A Dream Come True is a story of a mother and daughter relationship when the daughter met her father, a long lost soldier, for the first time. There are negative promises, redemption, and healing. Wow, and that is how we wrap it all. Dust to Dream is a collaboration between Eboy Life Film and the African Exports and Import Bank, and also its future Atlanta Jones, Esimi Ikpe, a team of former Nigerian Idol contestants Olatunde and Harry Olusogun, better known as still a British musician. And that is all wrapped on entertainment news this evening. I am Victoria, have a blessed evening. Thank you for watching.
Now to sport. The Super Eagles will take on Benin in the first round match of the 2026 World Cup qualifying series at the Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium in Abidjan, where they enjoyed a fine run at the recent AFCON. Super Eagles beat Guinea-Bissau, Angola and Cameroon at the former Ivorian National Stadium to go all the way to the championship final in February. Benin Republic has been ordered to play their home games of the World Cup qualifiers after their stadiums were ruled substandard. They are both bottom of Group C with a point from 2 matches after a goalless draw in Lesotho. Nigeria are third on 2 points, same as Lesotho and Zimbabwe. Still talking sport, Barcelona's coach Xavi Hernandez said Catalans won the Champions League in 2015 would send his team out to harry the host. Xavi, who announced his retirement in January, he was leaving at the end of the season, has led the resurgent Barcelona on a 12-game unbeaten run since. Chippa United goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali was the hero during the penalty shootout for his club as they qualified for the Nedbank semi-final. Nwabali kept a clean sheet to lead his South African club to a 2-0 victory over TS Galaxy, with Chipoi winning 1-0. A penalty was awarded against them. But Nwabali, who showed off similar skills at the 2023 African Cup of Nations, displayed his agility again to deny Porgiso Sanoko from 12 yards. Chippa United went on to double their advantage thanks to Roscoe Henry's stoppage time penalty. As in sports, Alex Iwobi has equaled Nwako Kanu's record of most assists by a Nigerian in the English Premier League. Iwobi teed up Brazil midfielder Andres Pereira for Fulham's second goal in the tournament with 5 goals to his name. Now from Germany, where Bundesliga champion Bayer Leverkusen lifted the Bundesliga title for the first time in their 120-year history on Sunday, a 5-0 victory over Werder Bremen, breaking Bayern Munich's 11-year stronghold on the German top flight. Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen knew victory would secure the title with 5 games to spare, but there were no signs of nerves in a dominant performance. A hat-trick from Florian Wirtz and goals from Victor Boniface and Granit Xhaka extended their unbeaten run to a stunning 43 games in all competitions. Leverkusen's maiden title, coming after 5 second-place finishes in their history, keeps their dream of a remarkable treble alive while shedding their unwanted Leverkusen nickname for good. Now from the UFC, where Brazil's Alex Pereira pulled off a stunning first-round knockout victory over Jamahal Hill to retain the UFC light heavyweight title, with Zhang Weili beat Yang Zhuan to retain the strawweight belt at UFC 300. Pereira waved off what looked to be a low blow from Hill before landing a left hook that sends the American sprawling backwards onto the canvas. He then pounced the rain down blows and forced a stoppage at 3 minutes 14 seconds mark of the first round. Hill had won the title in January of 2023, but an injury suffered while playing basketball forced him to vacate in July, and decorated kickboxer Pereira. Now up next is the sports segment.
Welcome to Sport News. Former Super Eagles coach Sonny Olise has congratulated Victor Boniface for winning the Bundesliga title with Bayer Leverkusen. Boniface helped his side to clean their first ever Bundesliga title trophy in their history with a 5-0 win over Werder Bremen on Sunday. Olise described him as a very skillful and intelligent player who is capable of leading Nigeria to AFCON glory. Boniface was once again extraordinary as Leverkusen grabbed its first ever Bundesliga title with a 5-game left to play. Boniface is strong, skillful, intelligent, mobile, and calm under pressure, and I am convinced he will lead Nigeria to AFCON glory and more soon. Another development. Toby Amoso was in action in the women's 100 meters flat at the Tom Jones Invitational in Florida, where she competed in the second heat of the Olympic development section and clocking a time of 11.26 seconds. She placed fourth in the race won by 100 meter and 200 meters specialist Abistina, who clocked a time of 11.05 seconds, and Kera Parker in 11.13 seconds. In the following section, in a time of 11.33 seconds, while Sosasu Mokoro made it 3 for 3, winning the third section in 11.43 seconds. Finally on sport, the legend of Alex Pereira continued to grow with his latest win to cap off of the historic UFC 300 card on Sunday night. Following an action-packed night of fights, the reigning UFC light heavyweight champion delivered an emphatic exclamation point on the evening